Hello, we are the Waldos. I'm Darren,
I'm Sarah.
and this is Eliana, our just over 1 month old daughter. And we are making this video and hopefully a series of videos because we have an interesting journey that we feel like maybe other people have had and haven't really had people to talk to them about it. Our paid actress is not appropriate. That should be fun. But you know, things that people have gone through, that we've gone through, that maybe have not had somebody to talk to them about, or feel like they're going through it alone. And we just felt like God has blessed us so immensely. And throughout the pregnancy, I prayed that God would use us to be able to help other people through Eliana. And so we're going to go through a little bit of our infertility journey and tell you kind of what we did and how our life went. But we also want to make it very clear that we're not marriage counselors and we're not fertility experts or anything like that. And this is our experience. We're not guaranteeing that God's going to give you a baby or anything like that. But we just want to relay what our journey was like. So maybe you relate, or maybe you know somebody who's going through this and you have no idea exactly what they're going through. So let's talk about our early marriage experience. We got married in 2006. And at the time, I was coaching college soccer at Ohio Valley University in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And so we got married and you moved up there. How did you like living in Parkersburg, West Virginia?
Well, Parkersburg is a nice little city. But it was the first time that I had been away from my family for just an undetermined amount of time. And I did not like it. We met some great people there. It was like I said, it's a nice little town, but it was too far away from family for me. I didn't like it at all. I kind of cried every day.
So I was kind of in my, I don't want to say dream job, but it was a job that I really liked. I was a sports information director and I was the women's soccer coach, and I was getting my master's degree in sports management. And but I felt like early in our marriage, we were just married 5-6 months at this time. I knew you were not happy, so I wanted to be able to take care of you, and so went to my athletic director and just told him I wouldn't be renewing my contract. So we moved back to where she's from in Kentucky, and so that kind of was the start of our marriage. And we talked about one day having kids, and I think we, like, probably even before we were married, we kind of planned that out, like 2 or 3 kids. I come from a family of 4 kids. You come from a family of...
There are two in my family. I have one brother.
So we kind of had varying experiences. So we thought maybe we'd compromise in the middle at 3. And we wanted to take a couple years to get to know each other, like most couples do. Oh bless you. Oh bless you. And just spend time growing closer together as a married couple before we even thought about having kids. Fast forward. And we fully expected to be able to do that. We
didn't have any reason to think that.
Yeah, so Sarah's got, at the time, had a niece. Now has 2 nieces from her brother. And I had a niece and a nephew from my older sister. And so, oh no, we're gonna pause. So with us having family members who have kids, we kind of didn't think anything other than we'd get pregnant and start having kids when we felt the time was right. So right around 2009, I think.
I think November.
Well, in 2009 we started discussing having.
Yeah.
Let's maybe now's the time. Let's start trying to have kids. So went off birth control, and she started tracking everything. What are you ladies do? And so in November 2009. I very explicitly remember the morning, laying in the bed, and you came in and had a pregnancy test in your hand, and you're like, "I'm pregnant," and we were so excited. From then on, I feel like the excitement level the joy, the planning, everything just goes into high gear. Not only between us, but also with your family members and your friends. And you've already started dreaming about t-ball practices and dance recitals, and like all those things happen, you know, in a very, very short amount of time. And you know, we went through all that. We went to Babies R Us, started picking out things like we need to get that crib, and we need to look at that stroller. And Sarah is like the queen of studying reviews, so she started looking at every review of every single baby item that we
I'm definitely a researcher.
felt we were going to need. And then we went into our first for our first ultrasound. And I don't know if you want to talk about that or you want me to, because I mean, I can talk to you from a husband's perspective.
So he went to do the ultrasound, and I know every office does it differently, but at that particular office, like, he was doing an ultrasound and it was on the screen right in front of me and up on the wall, and so we could see everything that was happening. And you know, he kept looking and looking, and I didn't really know what was going on. And so he said that there was no heartbeat, and I felt like the whole world just like fell out from under me. It was really nothing that I expected. We didn't have any reason to think that things weren't going the way that we expected them to go. But it was just definitely a traumatic moment in life. You know, you just don't expect that when you go in for your ultrasound that the doctor's going to tell you that there's no heartbeat.
And from then, like, fast forwarding, I mean, it felt like fast forwarding. It was like a whirlwind of what happened next. He had recommended you getting a DNC, and that was a very traumatic experience for you. And all during this time, you know, family members and everybody else knew that we were going in for our first ultrasound, expecting to see that picture that, you know, we'd take of the screen and all that kind of stuff. And it's not there. We don't have that. And so that's really when I don't know. Like, I know we were like numb walking out of the office and driving home. Obviously, a lot of tears being shed. And then just trying to get this scheduled where you would have that procedure done. But then it kind of came to where we're also managing what our expectations were, and now that's obviously changing. We're dealing with stuff like that. But then everybody else already had all these other expectations too, and the excitement, and they want to know what's going on, and you know.
And we had to answer questions.
And we had to answer these questions,
really want to answer.
And we didn't know because we hadn't really ever talked to anyone about this.
Yeah.
Or had anyone talk to us about it, and so it was kind of a varying between who we talked to, different experiences. So, for instance, Sarah's mom, she's told us she had never had any fertility issues, so she really didn't understand what was going on, and that's no fault of her own. She had just been very blessed and not had gone through any of this stuff. And so she didn't know how to react, questions to ask or not to ask, or to give us space or to give you space. So we had to navigate those waters, you know, and try to deal with that. Versus my mom had a miscarriage before I was born. So I knew that she had that experience. So we were able to call her. And so her reaction was very different than Sarah's mom. Once again, no fault of your mom's, just because she didn't have that experience. Right. So my mom was able to be a voice of calmness, reassurance, and just helped us out a lot. I mean, more than she probably even knew at the time that she was helping us out. And then, you know, letting other people know, you know, family and friends, you know, that we were going through this, and you know, honestly, I don't think too many people reached out to us.
Not too many. I had a couple friends that hadn't necessarily been through this, but they, you know, they had other friends that had, and kind of knew kind of some things that they could do to help out. But I had a couple friends that did reach out, and but overall, like, most people that we knew, at least we didn't think that they had ever had this kind of experience. Yeah. Because you know, you feel like you're the only one because nobody talks about it.
Yeah. You definitely feel like you're on an island.
Yeah.
So then, fast forwarding over the next 5 years after that, we end up having 5 more miscarriages.
Yeah.
So a total of 6. And you talk to several people who've kind of gone through that same experience. Some people have gone through 1. Some people have had a kid, then had a miscarriage, and had another kid. And, there's a wide range of experiences that people have had. But I'm not going to say the second one or the third one or even the 6th one got easier.
No.
From a male perspective, it's definitely different for the husband versus the wife. Dates and stuff that I don't know. And so you've got like mental mementos of this should be happening or that should be happening. And the husband doesn't really have that per se. And we heard a lot of stories of people who went through what we went through, and it was very rough on their marriage. As far as questioning who did what and why and who's responsible, and we never assigned blame. And we're Christians, and we have an idea of how we feel like the family should be structured and everything, and biblically, and we uphold that. And I felt that through a lot of this time, my job was to be your caretaker, your protector, as much as I could be. But there are certain things I couldn't help you with that you were going through. But throughout those miscarriages, it was just a different experience each time, but it was the same experience over.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not gonna say it got easier. It just got a little bit different each time.
Yeah. We came, or at least I did. I came to expect the same ending every time.
Yeah.
When it keeps happening over and over, you don't really ever expect that. Especially when you go through that many, you don't expect that anything's going to be any different.
And I think after like the 3rd or 4th one, we did try going to a fertility clinic and speaking. I think we talked to actually maybe 2 different fertility experts down in Nashville, one at the Nashville Fertility Clinic and one through Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And you tried acupuncture because we had a friend who had gone through this, and acupuncture was a way that she felt that she was able to be successful in having children because of what that was able to do with her body. She's looking at you right now. So we talked to other people that had experiences. People in my family had experiences with infertility issues, and some people were able to go on and have children, and some not able to. And we're hoping in future videos we're gonna maybe bring in some people that have gone through different experiences than what we've gone through, and talk about what it was like for them, because we did have people all the time asking us, you need to do adoption. And we would explain to them, if you gave us this is years ago, and right now, if you can't tell from looking at our channel, if you haven't watched some of our other videos, some of our upcoming videos, we are full-time RVers. This is well in the works before Eliana came along, so we're adapting and hopefully building a house in the very near future on our land that we live on here. But we, where was I even at? I can't remember.
Adoption.
Yeah, so we couldn't have afforded a child at times, just financially where we were at. And people was like, oh no, if you had a baby, I'm like, no, I mean, it costs a lot of money to adopt. And we had other people trying to look through different avenues to grants and different things like that, but it didn't work out for us. And we have family members who have adopted, and that was the perfect right move for their family, and they're awesome kids. We had other people trying to talk us into fostering children, and that just wasn't for us. We had talked to enough people and heard experiences that people had, and we have friends who have fostered to adoption, and those kids are their kids, and that's
it's been a wonderful experience for them.
It's an amazing thing. We have a neighbor down the street. I want to say, have fostered 5 into adoption. I think maybe they're fostering a 6th right now. I can't remember. And he and I were actually talking about that very same thing. Oh no, here we go. But right before we found out we were expecting her, And yeah, so I mean, kudos. That's awesome for the people that are able to do that. But it just wasn't for us. So after our 6th miscarriage,
Well, that was.
well, before we even get to there, let's talk about some of the negative impacts that we had during the especially after the first one. It was a dark place.
Yeah.
I
was. So he mentioned that we're Christians, and after that first one, I was really, really angry. I wasn't angry with Darren. I wasn't angry with any person necessarily, but I can honestly say I was really angry with God for like a good year, and I wasn't really sure if that was okay. Like, but I've kind of talked to some people about that. Like, God gave us these emotions. He gave us, these experiences, and I don't think that he is holding a dark cloud over my head because I was angry with him for a year. but I was, and that was a very conflicted time for me. But, I know that God is very powerful, and I know that he could have given that child life if he wanted, if he had chosen to. And so for that reason, I was really angry because he chose not to. But, who am I to question his decisions? And we've learned a lot since that experience, and we've had a lot of great experiences ourselves, and so I've learned a lot since then. And
yeah, and for me, I want to. It's like one of those things you're ashamed to say it, but it's the truth. So I'd say probably for after that first miscarriage, probably like 2 years, I didn't pray, I didn't do anything. Like, we still went to church, we went through the motions, but it's different, and the way you react with other people is different. I remember one time we were home for a holiday to my parents' house, and I was asked to say a prayer before a meal, and I blew up. Like, why am I always the one that gets asked to do this? And I don't know, I just had pent up anger or frustration over this whole situation that I took out on other people. I think it probably, I don't know, the way my family is.
They were probably just like,
they
oh,
just forgot about
and
it.
then they moved on.
Yeah. So, but anyways, that was something that I remember. And, after the second one, the third one, I think that's when we started understanding that, from a spiritual standpoint, that God's in control, that if he wants to bless us in that avenue, he will. And if he doesn't, then he's got his reasons, and we shouldn't really question it. Not that that makes it any easier or for us to know what's going on. But after the 6th miscarriage, you and God made a deal. So tell us about that.
So I was kind of at my wit's end, and I just really felt like God was never going to give us a healthy child, a living child, and I was done. And I prayed about it, and I said, God, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. If you're not going to give us a child, then I don't ever want to be pregnant again. And I wasn't for 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, it was about 5 years.
And so I thought we had a deal. I thought, well, we're just not going to have kids.
Yeah, so she had this ongoing deal with God, that not that we can make deals with God, but she had prayed to God, obviously, if don't allow me to get pregnant if I can't have a child, and that didn't happen. And so during that 5 years, and even before that, like during some of the other miscarriages, like, I don't know, we didn't really talk about it. It was just kind of a subconscious thing. Like, we grew together. Like, we started doing things. I remember our first one on this channel. You can go back and watch some of the videos. We just said, we never do anything spontaneous. Let's just do something crazy that everybody around us will be like, why? What are they doing? And we started thinking about it. We're both working in schools, so we had the summers off. And it was about 2 weeks of school left. And we just started racking our brains. What can we do that's just crazy that nobody would expect us to go do? And we settled on doing Route 66, which, once again, you can go back, watch those videos and see that adventure on our channel here. But and that kind of started us off in this mantra of being adventurous people. And we have family, friends, people like that that love to watch our videos and talk to us about our different experiences. We have another couple at church. The husband won a mountain bike trip for two to Bend, Oregon, and he invited me to be the second person on the trip. And so instead of flying out, we decided, hey, we love doing road trips, and we have a Honda Element, as you see in those videos. And so we camp out in it. So we did a 21-day road trip out west, and it was amazing. We got to go to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, and go down to Salt Lake City and Glacier National. No, we haven't done Glacier National Park.
No, it wasn't Glacier. It was
Crater National Park.
Crater Lake.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Glacier National Park and
Sequoia.
Banff are big on our list. Well, yeah, we did Sequoia when we were on, and the Grand Canyon when we were on Route 66. But when we were in the Pacific Northwest, we also did Redwoods National Forest. We did Yosemite. We went to Arches for our first time. We've been back several times since then. And then we've done other road trips where we just did crazy stuff. And the reason why we're living in this RV was that we really got into the tiny house movement and the idea of downsizing and all everything that goes along with that. And so instead of doing a tiny house, which we were very close to committing to, we ended up deciding to do an RV. So we live in a very large 42-foot fifth wheel. It's very nice. So even having a baby, like, we plenty of space. It's just we wish we had a bunkhouse, which we don't. But other than that, it's worked out really well. And like I said, we're going to be moving on to a house here, hopefully fairly soon. But when we sold our house, one of the great benefits of that was we were able to go to Israel and go to the Holy Lands, go to Jordan. So we've been on a boat on the Sea of Galilee. We've stuck our feet in the Sea of Galilee. We've floated in the Dead Sea. We've walked the streets of Jerusalem and been to Nazareth and been to Bethlehem and all these different places. And it was just an amazing time. And that was kind of like what some of our family and friends know us about us, was that we would go out and do adventures and that we were close together, hardly ever spend any time apart. And we kind of had some role models for that. I had my aunt Opal and my aunt Roxy and several other their great aunts who were unable to have children, and they would go on these big road trips. And we actually have at my dad's house in West Virginia that he inherited, we've got pictures and 8mm film rolls of some of their adventures that they took out west, and it's kind of crazy.
The same adventures that
we've got
done.
the same pictures on our Facebook pages. That I was looking through this book, and like, they took the same exact photo in 1963 or something like that. So it was really crazy. And then you had a great aunt and uncle that were unable to have kids, and
Yes.
and they were adventurous people from what it sounds like.
They loved road trips as well. They, my Aunt Noka and Uncle Aubrey, they weren't never able to have children. They didn't really talk about the fact that they couldn't have children. They just didn't have children. But they would take, all their nieces and nephews and like the whole family, like cousins and aunts and uncles. Everybody would go to just wherever they planned, and so they had a lot of fun. Also, it's kind of one of those, if you can't have children, then have adventures.
So we kind of accepted our circumstances in life and started planning out. Like I said, we were going to do the RV lifestyle for 5 years. We have a lot of people that are jealous, and we've given a lot of advice to people, and hopefully we'll make some videos about what we have done. I've already made one on the channel just to kind of let people know how we kind of planned out and got our property here and did utilities and stuff, but that's a totally different subject. But that 5-year plan, that was we were gung-ho on that. And then I got a new teaching job. Teach at an awesome school district, at a fabulous school, PE teacher, and just surrounded by a lot of great kids and co-workers. And Sarah loves her job at the school that she works at, and her co-workers. And COVID hit, and so we got in this lockdown phase. And that basically, we all experienced this. So we were all at home doing home projects and things like that. And May 8th is kind of a repeat of November 2009.
Yeah.
Sarah comes into the bedroom very early, and we didn't have to wake up early or anything like that, but she came in fairly early, and she's like, I took a pregnancy test, was positive.
I was a little salty about it.
She was a little bit mad. And so, I don't know, she just kind of laid there beside me. I had my hand on her back or something. And I was praying. And I told her, like, later that day, I was like, I'm sorry if I didn't say anything when she told me that. I just immediately started praying. And because I had known about the deal you'd made with God and not wanting to get pregnant. And I always preface this by telling people, like, we didn't actively stop.
Yeah, we didn't really do anything to prevent pregnancy.
Yeah,
we just didn't get pregnant.
Yeah. And so I immediately started praying about it. And so May 8th, 2020 was the day we found out that we were pregnant. And I think maybe we'll talk about that experience in our next video, as far as like the day we found out we were pregnant, and then the next maybe 2 or 3 months leading up to it, all the way to Eliana being born. And we'll also talk about what her name means and why we picked her name. Like I said, we also want to bring on some other people to talk about their experiences with infertility and adoption and fostering and things like that as well. So hopefully this is a video that will help some people, and the videos we make over the next month or so. Hey, baby. Because like I said, we're not guaranteeing that God will give you a child. We did not expect this. She is a true blessing of God. And as some of the elders in our church have called her the miracle of miracles, because they all know what we've gone through. But we just want to be able to be a help to people, to whether that's comfort and understanding or just education type stuff, just letting people know what's going on. Because I don't know how many, especially female coworkers I've talked to, who have gone through similar things that we've gone through, and the frustrations that some of them have told me about their husband, and they're just shocked at like how open I am to talking about this, and how understanding I have been with you and things like that, to people who are going through trying to their kids or people they know are trying to go through some of the other processes to have a baby that we didn't go through. So hopefully this has been helpful. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna shameless YouTube plug here. Subscribe, like, share. If you want to share this on Facebook or to other people, that'd be awesome. I know this is a little bit of a long video, but we want to be able to be a help to other people. So if you know somebody who's going through something like this, please, by all means, go ahead and share this with them. So that way maybe they can get some benefit out of the next videos that we make as well. So thank you so much for watching this, especially if you've made it here to the end of the video. It's a long video, but we appreciate it. So thank you very much, and God bless you.